he kind of tells himself, leave the old man outside, lock the door. I don't need the old man. I don't want the old man. At the end of the pandemic, my wife said, do you really want to go back? Because all of the institutions I was working for had closed down. Mm-hmm. Some of them are reopening. Some were calling me. And I said, I think I need to continue being a photographer. I think I need to connect with these new people. I mean, every year, 350, 400 new evening weekend people. That's like a challenge for me to come in on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
I'm unknown. Who's this older guy with the camera? Why is he sticking this camera in our faces? Why is he having us point at the camera? Why is he having us do these crazy things? And then that turns into a connection, so that by the next day, it's Jim, come over here, shoot this.
Yeah.
And by the third day, it's like, we love you. And it's hard to communicate to my wife what that experience of entering people's lives it might be a superficial way, but there's a reality to it. There's an authenticity to it, that when these people see me the next 3 years, it's Jim.
Yeah.
It's a connection. It's a way of adding new energy to my life. In a way I feel, and this sounds bad, I feel like some strange vampire, some strange Marvel character that absorbs the energy of everyone I meet.
If I ask anyone, what do you remember about the WeLunch? Yeah. They will say, oh, I remember Game Block. I remember they do that skit and you are one of the character.
Somebody warned me about that.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there nervously, shooting those fabulous skits.
Yeah.
And then when I emerged as, Block, James Block, who solved whatever the story was.
Was
it your cohort?
Yeah.
The only honor that's as great as that was your emailing me a couple of weeks ago saying that you would like me to be part of the 20 inspiring characters that I met. That meant a lot to me because that's feedback. I mean, I get instant feedback. And in a sense, most of my institutional clients are gone. They either age out or there's photographers that the new team prefers. I get it. And I determined I'm only going to photograph for those people that really love me. And by love, I mean they understand me. They understand we could get a photographer or we could get Jim. They understand the difference between being a generic photographer, a role, or being me. What value added qualities do I bring to the experience? Or I am the experience. And so having that on a regular basis through your group, there's a few other groups, MFE, a few other people within Haas, who look forward to me unleashing me on the new generation of students. That is my inspiration. My inspiration is being able to run at my age a marathon, which those 3 days and 8,000 images are, at a speed that is a 30-meter race. To be able at my age and my, health to continue to be able to do this. I'm setting a challenge for myself. The fact that the byproduct, happy students, good photos, great experience, good memories, that's all great. But for me, the takeaway is the fact that I'm still standing. The fact that I can take myself away. The fact that next year, whatever batteries, lithium or otherwise, are charged up, or maybe it's solar because I'm getting the sun, suddenly the sun's broken through. Those qualities, I still have them. I still have the game. And so that's my inspiration to keep going. I'm energetic and I'm trying to be younger than all of you 20 and 30 somethings that I deal with. But then when I get out of the car, back to my house, it's kind of like this other person, this aging person is there and says, are you finished for the day? And I say, I guess so. And then, the body folds in on itself. I feel the aches and pains of age. I feel all of those conditions. They come back. But denial is really a wonderful quality to have.
Yeah.
Laziness, changeability, difficulty to commit, and also denial. To say, okay, I may be tired, But today I have to come and photograph We Lead again. And for me, it's not about me. It's about all of you people coming for the first time. How can I help make that experience new, fresh? Forget about me. I've got to be empathetic in the sense of entering your experience and saying, what do you need from me? And then I have to produce it.
How do you get that connection really fast with some strangers? Like you said, like some new students comes in and then you can quickly build some connection in first day and second day you see they already know your gym and third day you already branding your gym and next time the institution comes to they will choose between gym and photographer. So that self-branding, how do you build it? What's the secret?
The secret is, it's a secret that not even I know. Whatever that quality is that permits me or any of us to do what we do is somehow in our DNA. You know, we're born with it. I've got an older brother who's famous. His name's Peter Block. He's one of the creators of consultancy in the 60s. One of his quotes to me was, everyone has their life's work, but not everyone finds it during their lifetime. So if you're blessed enough, lucky enough, skilled enough, crazy enough, lazy enough, I don't know, to stumble upon something that feels like your life's work, your legacy, your abilities, your superpower, give it any phrase you want. I can't tell you how I do what I do, but I get, luckily for me, if you can see this, this is wood, I get feedback very quickly, because when you're shooting a person, photographing a portrait, you can see by their body language or their expression or their energy or something if you're successful or not. You're like a scientist in a lab. Let's try mixing this. Okay, let's try something else.
Yeah, so keep exploring.
Keep experimenting.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds even colder, but I mean, you know, there's when I have people point at me, one, it gives them something to do. They don't feel so passive. It gives them, it's kind of fun. And then I look at their face when they point at me and I see what an empowered face looks like, because they are suddenly not passive, but active.
Yeah, and they are targeting.
Yes, they're targeting, they're sending something toward me.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's this finger and not another finger, but I'll accept that one too. And so those are little cues. Like, you know, gamblers know how to read other gamblers' expressions. And especially in your encountering with other people, try to be fearless, because our society and our politics and everything tells us to be afraid.
You know, when you arrive and you trying to call me and find where the house is, I saw you driving. You're driving so fast with the phone on your hand. I was like, he doesn't look like an older man. He's like some young people with full power.
There's a famous director, Clint Eastwood. He's 95 now, and he's been making movies for most of his life, directing them. And apparently, when he steps onto the set, he kind of tells himself, "Leave the old man outside. Lock the door." You know, I don't need the old man. I don't want the old man. Another notion, an odd notion that I had growing up, is that somehow I would be taken care of. You know, my father died when I was young. My mother had to work. I was on my own a lot. But it still seemed to me, whatever that parental energy is to take care of the child, existed in the universe for me, in the world. You know, that somebody, something was looking out for me. But I couldn't just coast on that. I couldn't just use that to drive my life. But it was a sense that if I did work hard, if I did overcome my laziness about things, if I did commit to the moment, and maybe that's part of the pleasure of photography, because it defines, by its definition, a moment. You're doing a series of moments. And so if I can commit to making that moment as good or as meaningful or as warm or as fun as I can, then I won't, then the universe will continue offering me options and things. That's a very passive, very 60s way of looking at things. Although I do see, with the new activism and the situation of politics and where the world is now, it's not unlike what it was like to wake up in the 1960s and have that experience. I wake up now, in the 20s, but I still occasionally feel like, in a way, I'm back there. Or when I'm on the college campus and I see the styles when I see the hair coming back or the beards coming back. Those things I say, I thought the future, in the 60s, I thought, my God, 2000, are we going to live to see 2000?
Yeah.
And suddenly the 2000 is so far in our rearview mirror.
Yeah.
2020, if I live into the 2040s, then I will be, impossibly old. It's an experiment of one's life to, to deal with the chaos and the heartbreak and the sadness and the negativity that just comes our way because we're human. And to, at the same time, look for those jewels, those gems, the possibilities, the positive elements that exist around us too.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we choose to put into our developing self?
I remember my grandpa, he lived for like 90 years. Everyone saw him, he's very happy and people loved him. And there's a reason why he gained admired by others. I think it's because he never has the fear about the age or has the fear about what is coming. Yeah, he always like curious what's coming from next, always being optimistic about the new stuff. And even though it's very different from what the years he used to, but
Sure.
it's new words and new experience for him.
Did you inherit any of his chromosomes?
I'm trying because I.
What do you mean? You
yeah.
either inherit them or you don't. But yeah, you're trying to find within
because
yourself.
When I was young, I couldn't understand how great he is by having this kind of mindset until when I reached to 30 last year. I realized it's not easy to accept the age growing. Someone who can accept it means they have don't say that it's an ability. And I think my grandpa has it. And I need to work hard on that to gain that ability.
I wished, in comparison, I do think about the end because the end is out there. It's as if all of us, but some of us, it's as if we're all sentenced. We all have, a sell-by date. We all have that final date. Fortunately, we don't know when it is, but it's out there. And there's a famous quote by a famous British writer named Samuel Johnson. And he said, nothing focuses someone's mind as much as to be condemned to die at dawn. And so in a way, all of us are condemned. We all have that sentence. It's out there. And so in a way, the more I acknowledge that, the more it does focus me to make of all of these moments until then of value, of important, try to make them as fearless as possible. I am concerned about the end. I do think about that more than I did when I was 20 or 30. But at the same time, my life has remained so formless. What happens next? Who's calling next? What's this going to be about? That I feel sometimes like I'm 20 again with the world in front of me.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. There's one last thing I do want to communicate. And that to me, especially at an advanced age, but it's true for everyone, is the power of self-forgiveness. Maybe the most important, most healing thing, the most powerful bit of unobtainium that exists is the idea that of all the mistakes that we make, and as you age, you're just physically making more decisions that are not right, or you're forgetting things, or you're leaving things, or you're not doing things the way you should. The idea, rather than, whipping yourself for it, the idea of, it's the idea of self-forgiveness, that there's a power in forgiving yourself as often and as regularly as you can. When my wife and I have a fight, and there's no winning it, because you can never really win a fight between two people that care for each other. I just turn to her and I say, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? It's a magic phrase. I don't know if in Mandarin there's a similar phrase, but it's like, and saying it is almost like, I guess, a dog when it gives up the fight rolls over on its back, or a bird when it gives up the fight puts its head down. It's like you win, and it's okay that you win. Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Is a little magic phrase. I've had clients say, Jim, you promised me these photos today. It's 5:00. What happened? And, I screwed up or whatever. And so I'll email them. Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? And 9 times out of 10, the 10th time, screw it, I'll never work for them again, or they'll never work for me again. That 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's okay. Can you get it to me tomorrow? Yeah, no. You know, it's a magic phrase. It's like something you learn in Hogwarts.
Okay.
And you find it in your heart to forgive me.
Interesting. That's an all-purpose sentence for...
It works. In a situation that doesn't work, turn around and start running as fast as you can.
I think the hardest part, who stepped first
Right.
to ask for forgiveness.
Right. Imagine it's a game in which whoever loses first wins.
Yeah.
You know, there was a group of Native Americans in Washington, and they had a ceremony, potlatch ceremony, in which the richest person, the king or whatever, would give away his or her wealth in this ritual. You know, you were invited to dinners, you were given things, because the more you gave away, the higher your status. In a way, asking for forgiveness is part of that experience of giving away, you know, your strength and showing another kind of strength.
Many people ask me why I doing this YouTube series if I want to change my career, because right now I'm good with my career. I still see the growing path. For me, I want to connect with people. But I realize if I just go to the party, I just go to the events, it's very shallow connection. I cannot get a deep conversation. When I ask the same question on a party, people will just give a facial response. Right. But if it's in an interview, people will really think through what's the real answer for this question. Right. So I can discover what people think, and then we can get connected. And it's not for any purpose to build this connection. It's purely because I'm interested in human beings itself. I like hearing people's story. I like to learn what people learn from their past experience.
I was also thinking with your engineering background, which is about studying systems, studying variables, figuring out how things work together. That's a very valuable tool to have for anything.
Yeah.
In a way, that's the engineering empathy is the ability to look at situations, things, problems to be solved, and to come up with different kinds of solutions, one of which might actually be the solution. My brother, who is an extraordinary, very, very wise person, I'm just a little root that comes off of him. He began as an engineer. And then he got into system study.
Yeah.
And from system study, it was like the efficiency expert, industrial engineering. And then that led, because of his wonderful genetic heart and empathy, got into consulting, a way of using his engineering skills to help people solve interpersonal solutions. And so maybe you're on the path being an amazing consultant that wants to share. You know, you'll hold on to some of the goodies yourself, but to want to share the wisdom that you have discovered and that you can apply to yourself. And maybe wisdom is something that's like a virus. It can grab a hold of you and inject this new DNA into your system, and you become a little bit more in control of your world.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for coming to this interview. And I get a lot of the advice and wisdom from your life.
And I look forward to seeing you and everyone else in the halls.
Yes.
Take care.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.